Welcome to another exciting episode of Business Digest. Today we're joined in studio by the Ambassador of America to Botswana, His Excellency Howard Van Ranken. Welcome to the studio, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
Okay, so kindly share the state of Botswana-America relations given the dynamic nature of the global geopolitics.
Yeah, I would characterize our relationship with Botswana as very strong. It's enduring. And I think that I would attribute the fact that it's a strong, enduring relationship to the fact that it's built on shared values. You know, the United States is the oldest democracy in the world, and Botswana is the oldest multi-party democracy in Africa. And despite the fact that we are vastly different in many ways, we share some common attributes, some values. We both believe in the rule of law. We believe that the people should be governed by elected governments. We share a heritage where we were both at one point, ruled by the British. The United States, liberated itself through a violent revolution, and Botswana had a much different path to its independence. But the bottom line is that we share values. We think that people should be free to express themselves as they are here in Botswana. We think that people should be free to pursue their economic destinies, without interference. And so I think that our strong, enduring relationship is based on shared values, no question about it.
Okay, totally. Botswana and America, America has been a key development partner for Botswana over decades, particularly in the area of health. Mm-hmm. Please provide any brief updates regarding this issue.
Sure. The United States and Botswana have collaborated on a number of important endeavors over the years. I think the fact that the Peace Corps, for example, has been in Botswana almost uninterrupted since 1966 reflects a kind of enduring commitment that the United States has. In terms of health, I think the United States remains a very committed partner. In December, we signed a $106 million memorandum of understanding with Botswana focused on health, and it's it's a bit different than the way that we've supported Botswana's health sector in the past, in as much as this is a continuation of the President's emergency program for AIDS relief. But in this time, we sat down with Botswana and we said, okay, what are your priorities? The government identified 6 major areas, and the United States has came up with a way to support them. And those 6 areas are, supporting disease surveillance and detection so that Botswana can identify emerging health threats quickly and respond to them quickly. It's building and strengthening the supply chain, which of course has been in the news significantly in recent past. We're providing money to hire frontline workers who can be out, and they're the ones who are in the communities actually doing things that impact people day to day on the front line. We're looking at strengthening Botswana's health system so that we certainly recognize that a modern health delivery system requires information systems so that doctors and practitioners can have real-time information about their patients and can do things like do teleconsultations and things like that. So Botswana has identified this as an important area of where they wanted our help, and so we're delighted to be able to do so. We're also looking at ways that we can support laboratory systems, and Botswana has really an outstanding record of building their own lab capacities. The United States has been, I think, an important partner, and we're going to continue to do that going forward. So these are just some of the ways that we've been doing this. This is an MOU that will cover the next 3 years and probably a couple of years after that. And it's really important. I think it's testimony to the enduring and significant commitment the United States has to the health sector. Over the past 25 years or so, through the PEPFAR program, the United States has invested about $1.2 billion in the health sector in Botswana. And we have been really impressed with what Botswana has been able to do as a result of the leadership, the hard work, the difficult choices that Botswana had to make and that Botswana committed to themselves, they've been able to really turn the corner on the HIV epidemic. There's no question about it. I mean, Botswana is a world leader in that realm, and I think the United States has helped to achieve some of those results. We anticipate a time here in the near future where Botswana will no longer need our assistance. Botswana definitely has the human capital, the resources, the people necessary to manage this by itself, without the United States being a significant player. And so we anticipate sort of sunsetting our assistance here in the next few years. But we're very confident Botswana will be able to take this on entirely going forward. So that's just one way that we've been working with Botswana. We have a number of other ways that we work hand in glove with Botswana to help Botswana achieve goals that are important to Botswana.
Yes, I like that you mentioned the health sector. Let's zoom into the health cooperation program.
Sure.
There was concern expressed locally and elsewhere around the continent regarding the protection of privacy, particularly personal health data.
Sure.
Do these agreements impinge or in any way harm the citizens' rights to privacy?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's important to understand that everything that the United States does in Botswana, whether it's in health, whether it's in economic development, whether it's in cooperation with the Botswana Defense Force, we do at the invitation of the government of Botswana. We also do it in conformance with all of the laws in Botswana. Now, in this case, the data sharing agreement that we signed with Botswana is 100% in compliance and in conformance with the 2024 Botswana Data Protection Act. So it's consistent with Botswana laws. It's been reviewed by the Attorney General. It's been reviewed by the Ministry of Health, and they are confident, as am I, that it's not going to compromise anybody's health data. I think it's important to understand that this data agreement, it's not going to take Pauline's individual health information and send it to the United States. That's not what it's about. It aggregates data. So it says, for example, maybe it might say in Ngamiland in April, we tested 1,600 people, and here are the results. Not for the individuals, but of those 1,600, 3 tested positive for malaria, 9 tested positive for HIV, and 7 tested positive for TB. And so it's that kind of aggregated data that's being shared, but not individual data, nothing that provides any kind of personally identifiable information. That is all the government and the individual's information.
So people can freely believe that that data is safe.
100%, absolutely, no question about it. I mean, and I want to emphasize that what we have done with the government is 100% in conformance with Botswana law.
Okay, I'm sorry I have to cut you short. We're going for a quick commercial break. When you come back, we'll continue the conversation with the ambassador. Welcome back. If you are joining us now, we're in studio joined by the U.S. Ambassador to Botswana, His Excellency Howard Van Franken. We've been talking about the Botswana-U.S. relations. So, Ambassador, the U.S. has announced a shift in its engagement with Africa from aid towards economic partnership. What does this mean to long-term partners for Botswana?
That's a great question, Pauline, and I'm delighted that you asked it. So the United States has heard from Africa. It's heard from Botswana that it doesn't want assistance. It wants trade. It wants a trading partnership, and so the United States is absolutely committed to finding deals that are meaningful and address the priorities of Botswana and the United States. The best deal is one that benefits both partners. My president, President Trump, as I'm sure you're aware, is a businessman. He's someone who likes to make deals. He recognizes that the best relationships are based on mutually beneficial arrangements, and so that's what we want to try to commit to, and that's what our government is working towards. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make one other point, however. The United States remains an incredibly generous donor. We are by far the largest bilateral donor in the world, even after the recalibration of our assistance programs worldwide. So I want to repeat that. The United States remains the largest bilateral donor in the world. We recognize that there are places and needs for humanitarian assistance. The United States is incredibly generous, and we will continue to be so. But we recognize as well that the most important builder of prosperity is commercial trade. And so we want to see that happen here in Botswana. We want to see it happen here in Africa as well.
Okay. Are you able to speak directly to sectors of interest for economic partnerships between the U.S. and Botswana?
Sure. I can tell you that, the United States remains the largest consumer of products from Botswana. Two of the most important industries in Botswana, one is diamonds, and about 54% of all gemstone diamonds in the world are consumed in the United States, are purchased by American consumers. Again, 54% of the world's gemstone diamonds are purchased in the United States. By my estimate, about 70% of Botswana's diamonds are purchased in the United States, sold in the United States. In addition to that, American citizens who visit Botswana as tourists remain the most important source, the leading source of income for the tourism industry, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is a very significant contributor to Botswana's economy. We want to expand that. We see there's opportunities in other mining actions here. For example, in the mining of critical minerals, in the mining of copper, of iron, of coal, of a number of other resources. God has bestowed an incredible abundance of richness on Botswana in the form of minerals. Botswana has done incredibly well to exploit those with diamonds, and it's emerging with copper as well. And we see this as a real opportunity. The United States has a need for these. I think as a consumer nation, also as a partner to help to develop these resources. And there are a number of American firms who are either actually doing work right now in Botswana or who are very interested in breaking into Botswana's market for minerals, critical minerals, and base minerals as well. So I'm optimistic. I see there's a ton of opportunity here.
Okay. Speaking of critical minerals, what is the United States' view of partnering with Botswana in this critical minerals development? Will we see any further direct exploration and development by the U.S. companies?
Indeed, we will. American firms are active in the market. We are both in mining and in prospecting. There are a lot of ambitious and very creative and and firms that are characterized by ingenuity who want to find and help Botswana exploit these incredible resources. So I'm an optimist. I think you're going to see more American companies active here in the market, and I deal with them, almost on a daily basis.
Okay. Does the U.S. have any intentions of establishing a formal strategic partnerships with the Botswana on critical minerals such as the ones in DRC?
That's a really good question. I mean, obviously, you've done your homework. The United States has signed a number of these memoranda of understanding with other African countries. I think that we would love to be able to conclude something here. That's not something I'm leading for the United States, but we do have people who are in negotiation, in discussion with Botswana to come to an agreement on that. I'm optimistic that we'll find a way to make a mutually beneficial agreement between Botswana and the United States in the area of critical minerals and mineral resources. Yes.
Kindly share some of the details regarding the U.S. agreement engagement with the BIUST.
Oh, with BIUST,
Yes.
yeah. So we have a long history of working closely with BIUST. We've brought Fulbright scholars, so these are scholars to work at BIUST to help to do training, teaching. We actually have one Fulbright scholar. I think she's still there, but she's an information expert. So she's expert at essentially library sciences, and so she can make sure that people who need information have it and it's appropriate for what they need. And that's kind of what she does. She's also been active in advancing a program for computer training, not for BIUST students necessarily, but for area high school students. So we've done that. We've also helped BIUST with things like building drones, for example. We have a joint partnership the United States has helped to fund so that Botswana scientists, Botswana engineers can build and program their own drones from scratch. I've seen it. It's very, very impressive. I was able to visit BIUST earlier this month, and I went and I saw the command center for BOTSAT-1, which, as you probably know, was launched from the United States last March, I believe. And so I was able to see the place where it's controlled, where it's programmed, where they harvest the data, and then they're able to analyze it and push it out. Very, very, very impressive. And it's 100% Botswana managed, supervised, and staffed. So I was very impressed. I know that they're working now on BOTSAT-2, and I want to do what we can from the United States to help them achieve that. I think that there's a real opportunity for BIUST in particular to be a regional leader in getting data from the satellites and then analyzing it and sharing it with those who need it.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that talent.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We're going for a quick commercial break. When you come back, we'll hear more about Botswana and America partnership. Welcome back. If you are joining us, we are talking Botswana-US relations. Ambassador, before we went to the commercial break, you're talking about the partnerships that you've been doing with BIUST. Can you shed more light on that?
Sure. As I say, we've been partnering with BIUST almost since its founding. We continue to do so. We have a couple of programs that I mentioned that we're working on. When I visited earlier this month, in fact, we took advantage of the visit to sort of celebrate America's 250th anniversary of the signing of our Declaration of Independence. It's part of a broader program that we have all over Botswana. We met with some students. We had a professor from our embassy sort of give a brief lecture. We showed a film that touched on some of the themes behind the Declaration of Independence. We met with some of the faculty and professors there to talk about it. Yeah, it was a very successful visit. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed meeting with the students. And they had some really great questions. That's part of a broader suite of activities that we're doing all across Botswana. We're going to be in Maun, I think, in May, and then I think we're going to be in Francistown in June to sort of celebrate our 250th anniversary, to bring it to the people of Botswana. We're going to be showing a film. We're going to be doing some lectures. We're going to be doing some other activities around that, but I think it's something that people recognize is a really important event, not only for the United States, but I think for all the world, because that was an important revolution that started in the United States. So I'm excited about it. I think that we're going to be doing quite a lot.
It seems like you're so busy. What other activities have you been doing?
Whew. I feel like I'm very busy. I mean, I keep a busy schedule. So, this last weekend, I was at the National Stadium on Sunday, for example, to watch the Grand Prix races. A lot of American athletes were there. They did quite well, and I think that was a prep for the upcoming World Relays. In fact, I'm hosting our team, tonight. So they will come over and meet a lot of people from Botswana. I'm very optimistic that we're gonna do well, and hopefully, we'll be able to challenge Letsile Teboho, and so it's gonna be a great event. This morning, for example, I hosted the leadership from BITC along with the American Business Council of Botswana to talk about ways that we can collaborate and that we can improve the business environment here, so that Botswana can take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that present itself, and that American firms can come here and find a business environment that is welcoming, that continues to support free enterprise in Botswana. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot going on, no question about it.
I mean, I have to ask this. There has been talks that there is a U.S. military base in Botswana.
I get asked
What
that
can
a
you
lot.
say?
I can tell you unequivocally, the United States doesn't have a base in Botswana. We don't want a base in Botswana. We don't have a base in Botswana. We don't need a base anyplace in Southern Africa. I can tell you that unequivocally. So there is no U.S. base in Botswana. I've heard this from people who are, I think, spreading this misinformation for their own narrow political purposes. I think that they're trying to divide friends like the United States and Botswana by spreading lies. But I will say it one more time. I've said it many, many times. The United States doesn't have a base in Botswana.
Okay. Please share your final thoughts on your vision going forward for Botswana-US relations.
I'm quite optimistic, to be perfectly honest, Pauline. I see there's tons of opportunity here for the kinds of exchanges that we've been doing in the past and to build our commercial relationships. There's been a lot of talk recently in Botswana about the financial emergency, the emerging economic problems that Botswana is facing. I'm an optimist. I mean, I think Botswana has such a range of opportunities, a range of advantages over other places in the world. It has an economy that's characterized by the rule of law. It has an intelligent, educated workforce. It has vast amounts of land. It has, it's bestowed with remarkable quantities of important resources, and it has brilliant sunshine. So I think that Botswana's future is almost unlimited. It has some challenges. There's no question about it. It needs to be careful that it continues to nurture the private sector in a way that sort of plants the seeds for abundance and prosperity going forward. It needs to be careful about nefarious and malicious outside actors and others who don't come with the kind of partnership, or they say that they want to have partnership, but really they're looking for mercantilistic, commercial relationships with Botswana, and I think that that's a real danger. I think the threat from corruption, which has been in the news recently, it's real, and I think that Botswana needs to be very, very careful about how it deals with this, and to make sure that it retains its reputation as a great place to do business, and a place that's characterized by the rule of law. So I'm incredibly optimistic. I mean, I tell American businesses, I tell American people, come to Botswana. This is a great place. These are fantastic partners. This is a place where we can all thrive, and so I'm quite optimistic in terms of our relationship. I mean, we have an enduring relationship with the people and the culture of Botswana that supersedes anything from one government to another, something like that. And because our relations are built on shared values, those are enduring principles, and that's going to last for generations. I'm quite confident. So I'm very bullish. I'm very optimistic about our bilateral relationship.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Ambassador?
I think we've covered quite a bit here. The United States recognizes Botswana as an important partner in Southern Africa. I think the one thing that I would want to leave with people is that they should be optimistic. If you're Botswana, Botswana is a great country, and the United States wants to help Botswana achieve that greatness.
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Delighted to be here. Thank you so much, Pauline.
Yes, sir. It's a wrap from this side. From me and my team, until next time.